So I can tell you my opinion about what's going on, and you could use that as input, but that's not what today is about.
Right.
So where is
We are
the
in
city?
You will have to talk to those folks. We are in the beginning stages of starting our process. So we're gathering data. This is part of the gathering of the data that we need to do that. But a lot of it's going to be data driven from other benchmarking and the staffing study, the spacing study, the processing for facilities.
What part does the history of Deerfield Beach vis-a-vis?
It's not going to play into it.
Pardon?
It's not going to play into it. In terms of politics,
We did this once already.
you mean have your own municipal department? Yes, I understand that. I'm aware of all that. My job at the end of our project is to give information to your elected officials that they will then either A, stay with BSO, B, create their own department, or C, stay with law enforcement and do their own fire, or do their own fire or do their own police and do the fire. All I'm gonna do is give them the analysis of the information that they need to make a determination as to what Deerfield Beach will do in the future relative to your public safety, whether you have a Deerfield Beach Police Department and Fire Department or not, or if you re-sign with BSO. The data is solely to allow them to make that decision. Yes, ma'am.
So, I'm only here part of the year. My question is, in your experience, when you do these studies, and basically you're gonna do a comparison. You're gonna say, based on what other communities have, if we build our own, it's gonna cost X. We compare that to staying with BSO, which is Y. But given the staffing requirements, realistically, isn't it gonna be the same people?
That's a great question, and the answer is that if, I have seen cities that have started their own, and yes, they do recruit through the academies, they do recruit from other people, other departments have people that they get from. I can't predict what the staffing would be. I can just tell the city, you're gonna need X number of people in this shift, you need X number of people in that shift, you need X number of people in these different areas, patrol, criminal investigations, forensics, records, administration. Their plan, which I think was on like part 4 of the transition plan, if they choose to go that path, they're going to have a transition plan. It's gonna have a timeline. What are they gonna do? Where are they gonna hire? And part of what we're gonna do is look at, if you are gonna hire somebody to patrol, you're gonna have to pay them X. You're gonna have to have this for healthcare, this for pension plans, this, and so that they have a true cost of what it would cost to get a fully staffed police department, fire department, EMS. Part of the study is to provide that information for them. And then the other thing too that I would add on to that is, as a business owner, if I pay you, if you have a salary of $50,000, I'm paying more than that. Because I've got to do training, I've got to provide you, equipment to work on, a place to work. So you have to work those indirect and direct costs into. Yes, sir.
As part of your cost, are you gonna figure into the cost?
He has a good voice.
Figure in the cost of paying out the pension to the previous?
The city is gonna have to, if you're gonna hire somebody in today's environment, you're gonna have to be competitive.
I'm talking about the current.
They're gonna have to make that determination as to whether they stay, if the city has to do their own pension plan, or if they stay FRS, that's gonna have to factor into their recruiting.
Okay. And
They're gonna have to have a pension plan.
yeah, I'm not questioning that, but right now, people have pension plans.
Correct.
That might be eliminated, they might stay, they might, so a cost will have to be assessed to pay out those pensions.
Correct.
Okay, and so and then when the city looks at all your information and they come up with a determination, then is it a vote by the residents?
That is totally up to your city.
So they
I don't have any role to play in how they ultimately make their decision.
But you know what's legal and what isn't legal. So legally, they could start a new program without ever bringing it before the residents.
They could, but it's been my experience in 36 years that a lot of times public input or voter referendum is critical to helping make a decision. I don't have any idea what they want to do because that has not been discussed. And that's not within my contract. So if
Do you
you
feel
have,
that's important that they would present it to the residents before it's?
as somebody on the outside looking in, I would highly encourage you to go to your city commission meetings and stand up during public comment and voice your opinion. That if you believe that the residents and the taxpayers of Deerfield Beach should be able to participate in a voter referendum on that, I would certainly make that known. Yes, sir.
I understand there's a 6% differential between that is led to this process, and that the BSO is asking for 11% increase and the city is agreeing to 5%, is that it?
I think
Repeat the question.
the question was that his understanding was that BSO is asking for an 11% raise and the city wants to pay an extra 5%, and that there's that differential between what BSO had asked for and what the city's wanted to pay. Again, I don't know the history, I don't know the politics. I would defer to people in the city. My job is to come up with the numbers that if the city were to go and do their own thing, this is what it would cost. So I will tell you that nobody in the city has told me what the numbers would be, and they're not going to, because I won't allow that. The numbers that we come up with are gonna be what the numbers are.
Okay, but there's something that has caused
This point to be, for us to be here today.
Did you say what that is?
I don't wanna get into the politics of it. I just know that BSO has said this is what it's gonna cost. And I think the city and BSO are still talking about this. I think it's an ongoing process, but I think the city wants to know if they were to go and do their own thing, what would it cost us to do that? And so that's what I'm doing.
Just one other follow-up.
Yeah, sure.
It will assist me in making a decision as to how I participate in this process. If I know, for example, what has driven BSO to this point, what has caused them to ask for the 11% as opposed to accepting 5%. So what are?
Can I just compliment you on it, in a day when everybody has a smartphone and nobody does any research, they just hear what they heard on social media and run with it. I really appreciate the fact that you're trying to dig a little deeper and get some information. My best advice is, and I'm very serious about that, because my wife says, oh, I saw this on Instagram, and I'm like, well, where'd that come from? She doesn't know. There's a lot of people in green uniforms back there that are in the command structure. I'm sure they can answer some of those questions for you. You'll get their perspective, but as my wife always says, there's more than one perspective to every issue. I would encourage you to go talk to your elected officials at the city and see what their perspective is, and that way you can hear from two different parties as to how we got to this point today. I would be very hesitant to say anything that I don't know for sure, and I have not followed the politics of it.
Okay, thank you. I just thought it would be helpful for all of us to have this.
You're gonna have to dig deeper.
Thank you.
I've heard from you, Dan. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, how are you? Patricia Saunders. I got a question for you. I don't know if it ever came up. I know each officers, as they became certified, they have to have a bond. Now, any questions in regards to the bond? Is the city gonna come in and help them out with the bond, or they have to come in already bonded?
That's a great question, and I gotta tell you, in 36 years, I've never heard that.
Uh,
So, I would assume, and this is an assumption, that if you have to have X to have a certified law enforcement officer on patrol, that if the city should decide to go their own way, all of those certifications, all of those bonds, all those issues would be handled by the city. They'd have to,
It's costly.
yes. Listen, this process is not gonna be an easy or cheap process, and, but again, we're just gathering the data to try to figure out what it would be to do that. I'm gonna walk in the back to do a little exercise here. I didn't get my walk this morning, so I'm happy.
I'm not gonna need that.
And I'll be here to answer.
But no, you said, mentioned something about personal interactions and stuff, and as I was reminded earlier today, look for somebody doing something good instead of doing something bad. And everybody always wants to call and complain and bitch about things. but we never really get to tell you guys what we think of you and how important you are to us. Station House 102 saved my life. And those fire rescue people, I got to meet them. I met with Holness and Clark, went to the Station House to thank you guys. With the new contract, I don't know who's responsible, but we've got a couple of station houses here that you guys know we need replacements very bad. Station House 75, number 1. I think it's number 4 on Hillsborough. And so I don't know if those are included in the budget, but that's something that I would like to know about, because these guys, I love my deputies, but I love my firefighters better.
That's because these people rescue you and these people write you tickets. Get it?
No, I'm sorry.
Hey, don't worry. Colonel knows this. He knows this.
But to these guys too, I've been fortunate enough to make a lot of good friends or good acquaintances with our Deerfield Beach BSO officers over the years, and Chick, rest his soul.
I think your phone's ringing.
Yeah, that's I know who she is. My question is, or so what I would like to bring to my Deerfield Beach, Deerfield Commission is, there's gotta be a common ground, in any negotiation, there has to be a common ground, a meeting. In other words, for example, if Sheriff Tony is saying he needs 10%, and we're saying, well, we have a contract for 5%, or whatever the numbers are, there's gotta, I mean, okay, for the next year or two, we'll agree to 7%. You know, 2 years down the road, we'll go to 7.5% or 8%. And BSO come down. I don't want to lose you guys and women. I don't want to lose you guys more. But I've been here 35 years. I love these guys. Not that like that. But I think there's got to be a common ground, and I don't know what you guys are willing to. I don't know if you guys have input or say, but if you know, I've been in different negotiations in my professional career. I don't know what feedback you're going to give our city commissioner, but any negotiation has to. There's a middle ground, and you got to give a little and get a little, and that's how you negotiate. It can't just be a pissing contest. We got to take into consideration what these guys do. I've never had to run into a burning building, and I've never had to walk into where an active shooter is, and I would never want to. But I know people who do.
Well, what I've said the other 3 meetings is that in all my decades of working in public safety, I've never met anybody that went into law enforcement or fire, rescue, or EMS for the salary. They all go into the right reasons. You know?
No,
But I would also tell you too, what I told the gentleman up there is, please feel free to go to the city commission meetings and share this with them so they hear it directly from you.
I do, and I will, and I don't know who those new budgets. I don't know who's responsible for a new fire station. I know we own
The city is.
Yeah, okay, but
You own the buildings.
Since Peggy Nolan was mayor, I've been asking, especially 75. That thing needs to come down.
Well, I will tell you this, that my brother's architectural firm did an analysis of the existing buildings and has presented the information to the city about what they need to do and how much it's gonna cost. And so they have that information that they can make determinations on.
Okay.
I'm just here to help them understand, if they do it on their own, it's gonna cost X. If they stay with BSO, it's gonna cost Y, and then they can figure out what they wanna do.
And to any of the residents who have never walked up to one of these guys when they're on the beach and introduced yourself to them, they wanna know the community. I know I got a big mouth and I introduce myself to everybody, but they wanna know. So if any of you have never really made an effort to go up and just introduce yourself and find out what you got in common, do it, because they'll come running if you need them, whether they know you or not.
Thank you. Anybody I haven't heard from? Anybody I haven't heard from? Yes, ma'am.
Today? Isn't it usually appropriate for, when there's two parties deliberating over contracts like this, isn't it appropriate for both parties to get together from the beginning stages of when a contract is being disputed?
It is, and unfortunately, I'm not part of that process. that negotiation process. I do think there are still talks going on, and probably will continue to go on. But again, all I'm supposed to do is give the city what's it gonna cost if you do it on your own, what's it gonna cost if you re-sign with VSO, and then let them make the decision from there. I'm not part of the contract negotiations. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. You know, it is what it is. So.
Hi, Stockton. My name's April Bolovich, and I'm going to change the topic a little bit. I'm not really a numbers person. I'm a safety person. My career.
Risk management person.
Say again.
Risk management person.
Exactly. I perform risk management for the FAA, for the Florida Department of Transportation. I was in charge of safety for Miami-Dade and Monroe counties. And I've taught aviation safety for Broward College for rotating international cadres of students. So my focus is the safety of this change. I'd like to know who is in charge of the safety, who's performing the safety risk management procedures so that we can drill down on the safety of this change. You need to look at things like response time, you need input from VSO, the city, all separately, all together at the same table. Either way, you've got to get the numbers and you have to get the information. And I don't think you can put a price on public safety. On our street where I've lived for 25 years, we've probably had maybe 8 very life-threatening events occur. 3 of them at my house. Wow. One of them down the street last week. And response times are important. Who shows up is important. Follow-up is important. I'd like to know how these changes are being managed and who's managing the safety risk management of these changes. And one other thing, when you get the numbers for VSO, where will you be getting those numbers from? And one last comment is, I think the city of Deerfield Beach needs to take care of its existing infrastructure before we take on something new.
Thank you.
I know the city has a public safety director.
Where are they?
Yeah.
The public safety director is the person I actually deal with
Good.
when I'm doing with this, and that's going to be part and parcel of their responsibility should this move forward,
Okay.
if it moves forward.
My
Because there's no
understanding-
guarantee that Deerfield's going to do anything on their own. There's not a guarantee of that. Anything that yes, sir.
This is a kind of a disingenuous meeting, because you're saying that we need to go to another meeting to hear what we were supposed to hear and be invited for. You want me to read what it says?
I didn't do that.
But this is why
Where are the
we're here.
people that
I
did it?
understand that.
And where are the people from the city to
Yeah.
talk about it?
Yeah, if I can. I'm so confused at the focus of this meeting.
Yeah.
I thought it was for residents only, first of all. I don't understand why we're not making sure this forum is just for residents. I thought it was about, I didn't know we still, like, why are we even debating contracts? I thought the idea was because we couldn't agree on a contract, we were moving forward. If there's still an ability to, I'm a big supporter of the Broward Sheriff's Office, is there still, I'm just so confused as, are we still in a contract negotiation? Are we not? Are we moving forward? Are we not? I thought this was a forum to give ideas for what we'd like the future police department and fire department to be. That's how it was billed to me. This isn't at all what's happening at this meeting. Where is the city officials? Where's their meeting? To what this wonderful woman said to my right. Is there no other forum for citizens to add their comments? Is there no email campaign going out to all citizens asking for, I mean, a lot of people, I had to move heaven and earth to get to this meeting. It's not easy for us to get to in-person meetings. Where is the city?
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. Part and parcel of this meeting is for me to hear from people like you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to.
You were
communicate
thrown
that.
into a meeting at very false pretenses, and we apologize to you, but we were
Yeah.
looking for something
That was not
different.
communicated to us this way. Yeah, it's nice for you.
They threw you in this and told us we were getting something completely different.
Well,
So we'll be talking at
all
the
the
city
stuff that
commission
I've
tomorrow
heard-
night, city commission meeting, by the way.
so all the things that I've heard from you all, I'm going to communicate back. And I'm not pulling any punches.
Yeah.
But
Yes, sir.
this should not be part of the commission meeting. Because commission meetings, they come and they got this and do that, and they beat you down, and then when it finally gets to the topic, you got
3 minutes.
exactly. And
Yeah, but I'm gonna use my 3 minutes tomorrow night.
You know, the thing is, I would go and ask him.
Yeah.
I would.
It's a city
And you said this is a
regular
city
city
commission.
commission, we're allowed to get done.
What time?
7 o'clock.
I heard about these meetings from the city publication, The Wave. And in the city publication, The Wave, it says it's a very important meeting, and it says, these community forums are a crucial step in the process providing residents with direct access to city officials.
Correct.
Opportunities to ask questions and on the platform to voice their priorities regarding public safety, service levels, and community leadership. That's what they billed it as.
Yep.
I'm here to tell you, I was a Deerfield Beach firefighter from the year 1985. We went to the Broward Sheriff's Office in 1990. So I went through that whole process. I was a firefighter, but listened to the entire process. We went to the Broward Sheriff's Office because of 2 reasons: staffing and cost. It cost less, and we put more people on the road because the county organization can do that. The overtime budget, when it was the city of Deerfield Beach, when the overtime budget was over, they took people off the road. When the overtime budget for the firefighters until 2011, they took the people off the road when the overtime budget had met its cap for the year. That never happened after we went to BSO in 1990 for cops, and it never happened after 2011 when we went to BSO for the fire rescue. We've never shut down a truck since we did. And the whole premise was to save money. And my question, unfortunately you can't answer it, if we're gonna try and save money, how the heck can this guy from an outside agency stand up and say, we're thinking about going, we have no idea what it's gonna cost, but we're thinking about doing it. I mean, there should be numbers on a board. This is what BSO costs. This is what it's gonna take. We're gonna have dual salaries. We have to hire 300 people if we're going to our own agencies. 300. And you don't hire them on Friday and have them start on Monday. Because of the training that's involved with the deputies, and the training that's involved with policemen, and the training that's involved with a firefighter and a paramedic. Probably the most important. The Broward Sheriff's Office doesn't hire anybody that's not a firefighter or paramedic. A lot of cities in this organization around this county hire people that are firefighter EMTs. Every truck in the city of Deerfield Beach has ALS equipment on it. That's not true in every city in Broward County. And if the city is looking to save money, they're not going to be able to provide that level of service.
Good job.
What is my name? My name is Howard Nolan. My wife was the mayor of the city of Deerfield Beach.
And I appreciate his comments, I really do, and I agree with a lot of his comments. My problem is, what are we doing? Are we still negotiating whether or not we're gonna go back with BSO or not? I thought we weren't, and boy, we better get something going. But if it's still a possibility, we can still negotiate something, then that's a different meeting and it's a different conversation.
Thank you. Okay. In terms of commissioners, I've attended every single meeting so far. There's one more to go.
And she has.
Yes. Stockton knows me personally now.
I don't know her name.
He even knows my name.
I don't.
But I will just share with you, in 4 out of 5 meetings that I've seen so far, one commissioner, fortunately he's mine, District 3, has been to every single meeting, spoken very little, been respectful of the fact that, hey, I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable, but he has attended every meeting. I've not seen any other commissioner or the mayor here. And I may have missed him, but everybody I asked said, no, there wasn't anybody else there. So I'm trying to make some sense of a few things here based upon what we are discussing. I've lived here as Peg Nolan's husband did too, and this lady, and I've seen the transition. I was here, I got it. When the police went, I was not living here, but the reasons were the same, and all I kept hearing was, we can't compete with the salaries that others are paying. And we weren't willing to compete. And I applaud the BSO for fighting for the fact that, you know what? You all have budgets. The BSO doesn't just work for Deerfield Beach. They work for Broward County cities that contract with them. So I'm just in awe of the fact that the BSO is finally, because I haven't heard this in my 24 years of living here, is fighting to get these people what they should get. We know, we talk about, I don't want my budget to go up. They have offered, and there's material right online, then I'll be happy to give you the information how to go to it, but there's material online that the BSO has presented 3 different options to decrease what the increase would be and not have a problem with safety. So they've already sent to our city 3 different options of how to save $900,000 and come in at a level that isn't going to make the huge impact that if you just go for the 10% increase. We can give you ways to minimize the impact to your budget. I don't know where that is, and I haven't heard a thing about it, and I don't know the specifics of it, but I haven't seen anything. And I'm wages, geez, I mean, we're all human beings here. And whether you work for yourself, somebody else, or you're retired like me, I can't budget for 3 months out because my food bills are going crazy, all of us. I don't care if you're a police officer with a family or you're anybody sitting in this room. How do you budget 5, 10 years out, project budgets? We're dealing with today. Most businesses have stopped doing 10-year plans because you can't do it anymore. And with the tariffs, we don't know from one day to the next, you'll even get a construction contract that'll be good for more than 3 months before you have to sign. You don't get them for a year anymore. So I'm concerned. The wage costs are not gonna matter. Our city did a wage cost analysis, what, a year ago? I don't know how long ago, but it was before now. The city did, and BSO has done theirs, because they had to present their budget for every one of their employees in Broward County. If you don't get answers from the cities, you have to put a budget in to Broward County. So you've got to count on your cities to give you information, to work with you. As far as I know, I have heard nothing, and I go directly to Broward County officials.
I want to interject, I'm sorry. I'm a city commissioner, Daniel Shedesky, I'm Jersey, I don't want to be noticed, I'm listening, All right, first of all, the answer to the question about negotiation, I don't think she's aware of this, maybe she has it. She wasn't aware, but on November 19th at the city commission meeting, 2 city commission meetings ago, we gave a motion to the city attorney and the city manager to continue negotiation with BSO. And the major knows November 19th, the BSO staff and our city manager and city attorney and the staff will be negotiating further with BSO. We had also given them a motion that by the end of December to try to get the best offer from BSO. So the city is open to listening. I met with the city manager this morning and we are listening. We want this input, and I've gone to every single town meeting, and we want to know what the people are feeling. And nothing will be done without everyone involved. And we're going to try to be as fair as possible, but we are listening. I'm listening, and I care. So don't worry, I'll keep everyone in step with everything. I'm talking to everybody. We're all involved in this. We're going to do what's best for the city.
And I'll validate, he has been at every meeting.
Anyway, Stockton, you'll be happy to hear, I don't think I can make tonight's meeting, so this will be my final question to
You
you.
can come, love to have you.
Would your company, the Center for Public Safety, Inc., knowingly have taken on this assignment if you knew ahead of time that the city of Deerfield Beach had already made their decision to bring public safety in-house, as evidenced by 3 different media outlets, Sun Sentinel, New Pelican newspaper, and Century Village East Reporter, as well as advertisements by the city for this event, reporting that the city has already decided to move public safety in-house before the end of the 2-year transition period with BSO is over?
The answer is no, I would not have done it if I knew it was a pre-foregone conclusion. I would not have. I've got projects in Laredo and Woonsocket, Onalaska, Wisconsin, and Charleston, South Carolina, and Lake Lake. You know, I've got plenty of things to work on. If it was a foregone conclusion, I wouldn't have done it. Nobody has said that to me. Nobody's intimated that to me. I have other things I could work on.